Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing if this is something you end up enjoying. You never know, it could happen. Today I'm bringing you my top shelf news. I know it's been a hot second. This is where I get to bring news that interests me about fantasy, science fiction, sometimes horror, and mostly as they relate to books, but also as to media. I know it's been a bit. I've been a little bit under the weather. I still haven't fully recovered, according to my voice, apparently. And then the holidays too didn't help. But anyway, we're back at it, and we've got some good Brandon Sanderson news, Witcher news, Dune, House of the Dragon, and even Fourth Wing. I know you're looking forward to that if you're watching my channel. Not to beat around the bush, the Brandon Sanderson news, there's just a bunch of announcements came out with the DragonCon that just recently happened. It's a little less recently than I could have made a news video on, and that's partly due to me being sick and not being able to really talk, losing my voice. But anyway, I thought some cool, interesting, and good bits of information were brought out. Actually, a lot of stuff was made clear. The first things first, apparently Stormlight Archive 5, book number 5 that he has been working on, that is in the 80s percentage-wise as I'm filming this. Could be different when I edit this, but it has gotten a hard release date for December 7th, 2024, which of course that is not a typical release date, I guess, for publishing. Sanderson, I guess, has the sway of all people. Makes sense. And he's kind of throwing everything all out of whack, but I love it. I mean, it's good. Just, throw things out the door. Maybe some things have worked, but again, he's at a level where it doesn't matter. But there were a bunch of announcements at DragonCon, as I mentioned. The biggest, I thought, for me was essentially like the Brandon Sanderson Disneyland, it sounds like. Not necessarily that way, but I mean, why wouldn't it result in some rides and whatnot? But essentially, what the goal is some kind of chateau with like a combination bookstore, obviously for the Sanderson fans, office spaces, wedding reception ability. You've got book club. They really released a bunch of information about it. It's pretty cool. And again, why not rides, an arcade, virtual reality, whatever. Might as well be all the things, at least a mini kind of theme park, all Cosmere related. I think if anyone can do it, it's him, that's for sure. Cool book related news though that came out was he is working on, or will be working on, a novelization of White Sands, which had a graphic novel, and I own it. I plan to read it soonish, and the problem is it hasn't gotten a great reception, and so hopefully a graphic novel or an actual novelization of it will do some good. So after Stormlight 5, what's going to happen after Stormlight 5? Because clearly there's going to be, once he finishes, there's going to be a healthy amount of editing that needs to get done. And what does Sanderson do when he's editing a book? He works on other books because his brain can work that way somehow, which we all benefit from. So after Stormlight Archive 5, it looks like he's going to be entering and jumping back into Mistborn Era 3 this time. So we've gotten Era 1, 2, Era 1, epic fantasy, Era 2, kind of a Western fantasy. 3, I'm assuming, is the urban fantasy. It just seems to be the next step. Maybe he's changing it up again, who knows, but apparently he's going to do the Joe Abercrombie style. I don't think he mentioned that, but that's the style I consider it. But to actually write the full trilogy first before publishing anything, I think that's a good idea for an author to do. One of the things I think that's made it difficult for George R.R. Martin, especially, is having published one book at a time. What happens is then suddenly the books that are published, you lose the ability to add foreshadowing for different events that happen later on in the series that maybe you didn't think of at the time that the first book was published and that needed that foreshadowing, even just to some subtle degree. What writing the whole thing does is allows you to put it all in there. When you have the ideas at the end and you've written that book, then you go back into the beginning and you can edit. You actually have that chance to edit. Not only that, what has also affected George R.R. Martin seemingly very greatly is people theorizing and everything about the books. Then they maybe guess where he's going with something, and then he feels like, oh, well, I can't go there now. Whereas I don't know. First of all, I think there's an argument that, yeah, you might as well just go there. Why not? And that's a fun, gratifying thing for a fan too. But anyway, there's a lot of good to just finishing your book series and then coming out with the books. Again, let's be honest. And again, this is the only books, like, as far as the research I've seen, only book scheduled for Brandon Sanderson for 2024 is the Stormlight Archive 5, which is a great one, and I'm sure, as far as I can tell, his best-selling. So let's hope, again, that is the case and it does meet that deadline. But again, working on Mistborn as a whole, I think will be a good thing, and then we'll probably get 3 books, in 2025, let's be honest. But maybe into 2026, who knows? I'm not going to make predictions on that. Apparently, he is looking at writing and maybe bumping these up a little sooner than I thought, at least based on his State of the Sandersons, his yearly kind of update that he does in December as to where he's at with his writing and everything and all the progress on all the books and all the series that he's working on. But apparently there's sequels 2 and 3 to Elantris, which I think is good news. I really liked Elantris. Not my favorite of all of the Sanderson books, but also not my least favorite. So I think it's a good, healthy fantasy book, and I'm excited to see more. Warbreaker doesn't seem like it's coming anytime soon, but that's always been the case. So anyway, that's where it is. All right, still going, not done with Brandon Sanderson, but The Sunlit Man got its own cover recently from Tor. So this is kind of, we've done the Kickstarter. It's done. It's over. We have our huge year of Sanderson pretty much completed. Obviously, the end of the year has to happen, but the actual books and everything is seemingly done. I kind of stopped paying attention when it comes to not the books, because that's all I signed up for. There were other things that happened, like other boxes, themed boxes and whatnot, that I did not get, sadly. I'm kind of regretting it a little bit. But anyway, when Tor then releases the book afterwards, so then they do their own version. So this is essentially the mass market version of the book for the non-Kickstarter backers, which I'm sure still sells quite a bit. And for all, I don't know. First of all, I like the cover a lot, and I really think they did a good job. Really interesting. I've only heard great things about The Sunlit Man, and that possibly it's a favorite of the 4. So what do you think? Let me know. All right, I had mentioned George R.R. Martin. Might as well get into some news about him. There's another he did another interview with a little bit of addressing Winds of Winter. He almost has to, or people at least have to feel obligated to address it. It's always the elephant in the room. He's still giving the update that he's about 1,100 pages in, still has a couple more hundred left. It really hasn't changed much, seemingly, since even the Colbert interview. Really kind of, again, less positive, and I think that's an accurate description of it. I'm copying somebody. I mean, it's frustrating, to still be there, but then again, this is where I come in as the constant skeptic, since I have been waiting on a finished series since about 2006. It's going to be done when it's done. I do believe Winds of Winter will get completed. Do I believe A Dream of Spring will happen ever? I am 99% sure no. But that's just me, maybe. I don't know. So that's a little frustrating, but here we are. But that's, again, people are pointing out, oh, he's giving the same update, and that's because it's George. I mean, that's how slow he goes. I mean, if you got a couple pages in since, this year started, that's even amazing. So anyway, there we are with your George update. I know that's really groundbreaking here. Then popular authors that are publishing books still, even though the Witcher series was completed, we've got another, it looks like the book, I've already kind of announced or talked about this news, but Sapkowski, looks like the next Witcher book will be coming early 2025 is probably your best bet. I think there was kind of some maybe end of 2024, but really most likely 2025, which again I think is good news. And again, I'm about to finish the series here very soon, and I'm very excited for that. So we'll see how that goes. All right, next in media news, we've got a couple bits of media. First of all, The Fourth Wing. I don't know if you've noticed, It's kind of made a crazy huge stir in the world of publishing. I mean, even just since earlier this year, it's become kind of a phenomenon. It seems like they've kind of rushed into getting the sequel Iron Flame out, which had a bunch of publishing issues. If you saw the news on that, I'm not even talking about that as part of the news, but it looks like it may, which makes sense, be getting its television adaptation, or at least some degree of a TV series. It looks like on Amazon Prime would be the one. Nothing, it just seems like this, it's like since it got picked up on TikTok or Book Talk, it's just kind of launched, and it only makes sense that everybody's just capitalizing on it as soon as humanly possible. You will notice the books on my bookshelf behind me. Those are a gift to one of my employees, so I'm excited to gift those to her and get them off my hands. Now, I hear it's good. It's just, you know, when something's this much of a phenomenon, I get into the naysayer mode, and I shouldn't automatically do that, because what happens is then I tend to be wrong. And I don't like being wrong either. All right, I already made this announcement not too long ago in a Top Shelf News video, but House of the Dragon looks like season 2 is coming out next summer. We got a teaser trailer here, and again, it looks good. The dragons just look so cool. So I mean, that's the exciting part really about this, is like Targaryens mean dragons, and they're all in on dragons. My, I think, most exciting news, at least for me, is Dune Part 2 coming March 1st of 2024, so I cannot wait. It was supposed to come out by now already, which is a little frustrating, but again, I get it, and I'm kind of glad that things went the right way for writers. It sounds like in the writer's strike and everything, at least it came to a good conclusion. Now we can have our good movies back, and we all benefit. So anyway, because let's be honest, good writing, really, it's the bedrock of all of it. So let's make sure that that's good first and foremost, and not just treat it like garbage, or like how Brandon Sanderson's recent interview with Daniel Green was essentially like treating writing or writing like research and development for future movies. I'm like, that just, I mean, it's so accurate that it's so sad, and I hate that. Let's not have it be that. Let's have it be, let's get the things that we want done right. And Halo also is getting a season 2, or what I call should just be called Space Guys, because it's not really Halo, other than there's like some things related to Halo. I haven't watched it, but it just, and I've heard it's decent, so I shouldn't be such a naysayer. I'm in a foul mood, okay? I was sick for too long, and I'm frustrated with everything, so everyone's getting it. Halo Season 2 coming out, whether it was asked for or not, whether Master Chief is gonna be helmeted or not, who knows? And actually we all know, and it's that he won't be. So anyway, it's just like space guys, right? Like space dudes out there spacing it up, but not really Halo. And why can't it just be its own sci-fi thing? I get frustrated when it's like, isn't that what they did for like Cloverfield, which 10 Cloverfield Lane was really good, but they tried to do it with like other things where it was like, just, hey, we have a sci-fi concept, let's slap Cloverfield on it because that might boost some sales. But it's not really made for that. I fundamentally, like, just make good stories like we already talked about here. Like, do the good writing. Why not? Another one I'm very excited for is Furiosa. It's a Mad Max kind of like offshoot, it looks like, but a Mad Max story. Mad Max Fury Road is so good. It's so nuts. The trailer gives lots of the same feel, so I'm very excited for that. So that trailer came out. Check that out if you haven't already. I'm sure you have. As far as I can tell, it looks along the same lines and absolutely bonkers nuts, which that's kind of what made Fury Road so good. All right, then Fallout looks like it's getting its own Amazon series. Amazon is so hit or miss, and so that's what I am concerned, but the trailer looks really cool. It looks really good. I never played the game, but I understand there's kind of some tongue-in-cheek a little bit, in, like, you know, with the serious premise too, which I like. I mean, it just sounds like it's everything up my alley, but it looks good so far. Amazon is just the man in the high castle. Like, first of all, way better than the book. Man, that book is so rough. But The Man in the High Castle, the show, pretty dang good. They've hit some good notes, but then you have The Wheel of Time. I haven't even had the interest to go back and actually watch season 2, and then Rings of Power. I mean, just don't get me started. It was just meh. So anyway, Amazon has some good things though, and you know, Invincible is another good one, but I don't know. So anyway, always it's just you got to kind of read and find out, watch and find out with Amazon. All right, then finally, The Boy and the Heron, another Miyazaki. I'm dying to watch it. I need to watch it already. It's winning some awards. It's already doing well, of course, because it's Miyazaki. Just absolutely, I'm slowly introducing my kids into them, and they are like loving it. And I'm like, yes, you're weirdos like me, because it's some weird stuff if you really think about it, and I love it. It's colored a lot of my taste in reading and whatnot. But anyway, just some kind of quick channel update you can find on Murphy Napier's book channel. Did a quick talk about Red Season to Red Skies. Got lots of plans for the rest of this year, trying to fit things in. Miracle of Miracles, I did 3 videos in 1 week. I know, and there might be more of that here come the end of the year, because there's just a lot I'm trying to fit in with like a lack of voice right now, which is really frustrating to me. Trying to fit it all in by the end of the year, and maybe some's going to bleed over into the next year. I don't know, we'll see, but there's so much that I really want to get in and get moving on this year, on the end of the year, because it's really, I've had a good end of the year. It's really going well. So thank you so much for being a part of this, for checking out the Discord. There's a buddy read going on still with Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. It's 1 a month, so there's still plenty of time to catch up, and it's been a blast just talking about that. And anyway, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We'll talk to you later. Bye.